What happens when a Southern comedian known for her charm is pushed a little too far on live television? The answer turned into one of the most unforgettable moments in late-night TV, and it all started so casually. Before we dive into what happened, hit that subscribe button and share your thoughts below. You'll want to hear how this played out. Leanne Morgan stepped onto the Tonight Show stage to thunderous applause. The crowd was full of longtime fans who had followed her rise for years, and the excitement was buzzing. Jimmy Fallon welcomed her with his trademark energy, arms wide open as she made her way to her chair. "Leanne Morgan, everybody," he said, clapping with the crowd. "It's so good to have you here. I've been watching your specials, and I've got to say, you're one of the funniest people out there." Leanne smiled kindly as she sat down. "Well, thank you, Jimmy. That's mighty sweet of you. I'm just glad to be here." "So your new tour is selling out everywhere," Jimmy continued, leaning in. "What's it like going from small comedy clubs to sold-out theaters?" Leanne chuckled. "It's wild, honestly. I remember performing for maybe a dozen people, and half of them were kin. Now there are thousands, and I keep thinking, did y'all mean to buy tickets to see me?" The audience laughed, and Jimmy grinned. "That's great. Your comedy is so relatable, about family, marriage, kids. Where does it all come from?" "Well, I've been married over 30 years, Leanne said. "Got 3 kids, and they give me all kinds of material. My husband's the most patient man alive. He's got to be living with me." Jimmy nodded. "I love that. You're from Tennessee, right? Small town?" "Yes, sir." "Born and raised. Population around 2,000, counting the dogs." The audience chuckled again, but then Jimmy's tone changed just slightly. "So, Leanne," he said, "your comedy is very wholesome, very family-friendly. Do you ever feel like that limits you? A lot of top comedians push the envelope or go darker. Do you ever think about doing that?" Leanne's smile faded a bit. "Well, Jimmy, I don't feel limited. I tell stories that are true to me. That's what connects with people." "Sure," Jimmy said, "but don't you think comedy is about challenging people sometimes?" "Comedy's about making people laugh," Leanne replied, her accent a little stronger now. "There are all kinds of ways to do that. I don't have to curse or shock people. My life's funny enough." Jimmy leaned back with a smirk. "Okay, but would you say clean comedy is respected like edgier comedy? The greats took risks, right?" The audience grew quieter. Leanne's tone firmed. "Jimmy, I've sold out Radio City Music Hall. My Netflix special has been watched by millions. I think I'm doing just fine without being edgy. Respect comes from connecting with people, not making them gasp." "Right," Jimmy said, raising his hand slightly. "I'm just saying there's a line between being funny and being safe. Maybe your comedy's a bit too safe." The crowd went still. Leanne stared at him, her warmth gone. "Too safe?" she repeated slowly. "You really saying that?" "I'm just asking," Jimmy said, his confidence faltering. "You've got to admit you play it pretty safe." Leanne leaned forward, eyes locked on him. "Let me tell you about safe, Jimmy. I've stood in rooms where people didn't want to laugh, where they crossed their arms waiting for me to fail, and I won them over. Not by being shocking, but by being honest. So don't sit there and tell me I play it safe when you've never done what I do." Jimmy shifted in his seat. "Okay, maybe we're getting off topic." "No," Leanne said sharply. "You brought it up. Let's finish it." Jimmy tried to laugh, but the tension was thick. The band looked uneasy, and the audience sat frozen, unsure if it was a bit or a real fight. "Leanne," Jimmy said, "I didn't mean to upset you. I just think comedians have to take risks to stay relevant." "The audience is changing." Leanne raised an eyebrow. "Stay relevant? My last special came out 6 months ago, and it's still top 10 on Netflix. My tour keeps adding shows. What part of that sounds irrelevant?" "That's not what I mean," Jimmy said quickly. "I mean artistic growth, stepping outside your comfort zone." "Comfort zone?" Leanne echoed, her voice sharper. "You think talking about getting older in a world that doesn't value women over 40 is easy? You think being real about family life is comfortable?" Jimmy tried to respond, but Leanne wasn't done. "You know what's safe, Jimmy? Sitting behind a desk every night with writers giving you jokes. Safe is doing the same show format for decades. Safe is not standing on stage alone with a mic, hoping someone laughs." The room was dead quiet. Jimmy's face turned red. "That's unfair. I work hard on this show." "I'm sure you do," Leanne said coolly. "But don't tell me I play it safe when you've never done stand-up." Comedy isn't safe. It's terrifying every night. Okay, Jimmy said, forcing a smile. Let's move on. Tell us about your kids. No, Jimmy, Leanne said firmly. You wanted to talk about my comedy, so let's talk about it. Jimmy looked off stage helplessly. I just think maybe you're limiting your audience by being so wholesome. Some people might not give your work a chance. Leanne laughed dryly. Wholesome? Jimmy, have you even watched my specials, or are you reading cue cards? His silence said everything. That's what I thought, she said. You don't respect what I do. Because I don't swear or talk about sex, you think it's not real comedy. That's not true, Jimmy muttered. It is, Leanne said. And I'm disappointed. You made your name being likable, and now you're trying to make me look soft for doing the same. I'm just trying to have a conversation, Jimmy said quietly. No, she said. You're trying to prove you asked tough questions, but you picked the wrong guest. The audience was glued to their seats. Let's take a break, Jimmy said weakly. Now you want a break? Leanne said. You started this, Jimmy sighed. I didn't mean to insult you. But you did, Leanne said. You implied I'm not enough. Jimmy looked shaken. Leanne, I respect you truly. Do you? She asked. Respect means you prepare. It means you don't bring someone on just to belittle them. You're right, Jimmy said quickly. I should have done more research. You should have, she said. But this isn't just about me, it's about women in comedy. We're held to different standards, the audience murmured. When a man jokes about family, he's deep. When a woman does it, she's playing it safe. That's the double standard. Jimmy shifted. I hear you. Do you, though? Leanne asked. Because I've been told to be edgier, meaner, dirtier. And for years, I thought something was wrong with me. But there's nothing wrong with me. There's something wrong with the system that tells women to change to be respected. Her voice trembled slightly. Women are told our lives aren't interesting enough. That's the real problem. Jimmy looked down. I never thought of it that way. Most people don't, Leanne said. You thought you were asking about growth, but you were questioning my identity. The crowd clapped. I came here to talk about my tour, not defend my career, she said firmly. You're right, Jimmy said softly. I was wrong. I'm sorry. Are you sorry you did it, or sorry I called you out? She asked. I'm sorry I did it, Jimmy said. Leanne studied him. You've had clean male comedians here, Jim Gaffigan, Brian Regan, Seinfeld. Did you ever ask if they were too safe? No, Jimmy admitted. Exactly, she said. Because they're men. They get the benefit of the doubt. The audience hung on her words. I'm not trying to destroy you, Leanne said gently. I just want you to see what women face. We have to prove ourselves every single day. I understand, Jimmy said quietly. Or I'm starting to. Good, Leanne said. But it's not about words. It's about what you do next. Jimmy nodded. I'll do better. Leanne looked at him, then stood. I appreciate your apology, but I can't stay. The crowd gasped. Jimmy jumped up. Leanne, don't leave. We're done, she said, unclipping her mic. I'm not going to sit here and pretend everything's fine. Please, Jimmy said. We can fix this. No, Leanne said calmly. You brought me here under false pretenses and disrespected me. You don't move past that. The audience sat frozen. I've been doing this for years, Leanne said, and I've learned to stand up for myself. My line is respect, and I won't let anyone cross it. Not even on TV. Jimmy's voice broke. Leanne, please. Why not? She asked. Because it looks bad? Maybe people need to see what happens when disrespect has consequences. It's about your fans, Jimmy said weakly. Leanne looked out at the audience. I appreciate every one of you, and I'm sorry this went sideways. But I hope you understand why I can't stay. The audience broke into applause. Jimmy looked crushed. This isn't how I wanted it to go. Then you should have done your homework, Leanne said simply. She handed off her mic. One last thing, she said, turning back. To any young comedian watching, especially women, don't let anyone tell you your voice doesn't matter. Stay true to yourself. And if someone disrespects you, walk away. The audience rose in a standing ovation. Jimmy, she said softly, I hope you learn from this. Respect the next woman who sits in that chair. I will, he said quietly. Leanne nodded and walked off stage. Jimmy stood frozen before sitting down. "We'll be right back," he said weakly as the show cut to commercial. But the moment had already gone viral. Clips flooded social media within minutes. Some sided with Jimmy, others with Leanne. Her ticket sales skyrocketed. People who had never heard of her before now wanted to see her comedy. And when they did, they understood. She wasn't playing it safe. She was standing her ground. The interview became a turning point, not just for Leanne, but for every woman who's ever been told she isn't enough.